The girl and the horse, Christy, was an ordinary girl with extraordinary dreams. She lived in a small town with her parents, full of energy, laughter, and the kind of light that made everyone around her smile. But behind that smile was a secret she carried bravely. Christy was battling cancer. One summer, her best friend invited her to spend a short vacation at her grandparents' farm. Christy had never been to a place like that before. The farmhouse was old but charming, surrounded by green fields, fresh air, and the sound of animals roaming freely. For Christy, it felt like stepping into a new world, a world full of life. Among all the animals, one caught her attention. A fiery young horse. Out in the field, a boy her age was struggling to calm it down. The horse kicked, neighed, and pulled away with wild energy. Christy asked her best friend what was happening. "They're trying to train him for racing," her friend explained. "But he's too stubborn. No one can get close to him." That afternoon, Christy wandered into the barn out of curiosity. In the far corner stood the same horse, restless and wary. Something in Christy's heart drew her closer. Slowly, carefully, she raised her hand. The horse shifted nervously, but then almost miraculously it grew calm. Her best friend watched in disbelief. "How did you do that?" she asked. Christy smiled gently. "I don't know. I just let him know I wasn't here to hurt him." The next morning, she saw the boy struggling again with the horse. Christy called out, "Can I try?" The boy shook his head. "No, it's too dangerous." But Christy insisted. Hesitant, the boy finally agreed. To everyone's amazement, the horse grew calm under her touch, following her lead as if they had known each other forever. A bond had been formed. Over the days that followed, Christy spent every morning and evening with the horse. She talked to him softly, sharing her secrets and dreams, as if he could understand, and somehow he did. Soon, she was riding him with ease, their movements flowing together in perfect rhythm. Her friend's grandmother noticed the connection. One afternoon, she said, "Christy, there's a local horse race coming up in a few days. Would you like to enter?" Christy's eyes lit up. "Me? Really?" And so, with excitement in her heart, she began preparing. Every day she trained, not just guiding the horse, but speaking to him, reassuring him like a trusted friend. She didn't just see him as an animal, he was her partner, her confidant, her escape from the shadows of her illness. The day of the race arrived. Christy, nervous but glowing with happiness, patted the horse's neck. "No matter what happens, you're already a winner to me," she whispered. The gates opened. The horse surged forward, powerful and free. Christy held on, guiding him, trusting him completely. The wind rushed past her. The crowd cheered, and together they crossed the finish line first place. Tears of joy filled her eyes as she hugged her horse tightly. It wasn't just about winning. It was about being alive, feeling alive, and sharing that victory with her new best friend. For the rest of her vacation, Christy spent nearly every hour with the horse. They were inseparable. But time moved quickly, and soon, the day came for her to return home. As the car rolled past the barn, Christy asked him to stop. She ran to the horse one last time, wrapping her arms around his neck. Her eyes filled with tears she tried to hold back. "I'll come back," she whispered. "I promise." After she left, the horse's behavior returned to its restless ways. It was clear he missed her as much as she missed him. Back in town, Christy's days felt heavy without her companion. Weeks turned into months, and her longing only grew. Finally, she asked her best friend to call her grandparents. With courage in her voice, Christy said, "Please, let me take care of him. Let me train with him. I'll give everything I have." Her friend's grandmother agreed, even offering Christy the chance to stay on the farm as if it were her own home. Christy was overjoyed. She returned to the farm, to her horse, and from that day forward they were together, not just rider and stallion, but soulmates. They raced in competitions, winning titles. But the real victory was in their friendship. Christy, despite her illness, found strength in the bond she had created, and the horse, once wild and untamed, had found peace in her love. Christy had promised, "I'll never leave you again." But some promises are harder to keep. As her illness grew worse, Christy's visits to the barn became slower, her rides shorter. Yet every day, no matter how weak she felt, She found the strength to lay her hand gently on the horse's mane and whisper, "I love you." And then, one quiet evening, Christy closed her eyes for the last time. On the day of her funeral, the horse was there, led gently by the young man who had once tried to train him. The horse stood by Christy's coffin, calm and silent, as though he understood. As the earth covered her resting place, he lowered his head, letting out a soft cry that broke the silence of the fields. Christy had broken her promise, but not by choice. And though her life had ended, the bond they shared lived on in every hoofbeat, every whisper of the wind across the farm. The girl and the horse were no longer together in body, but in spirit they would never be apart.